Wi-Fi, I'm going to cut it off because you know that jump probably click on as soon as you walk in the door. All right, y'all, we give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. We're going to pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come by Abba's name, and you receive me not. But another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. Abba, there is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem and praise to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Proverbs 24:1. Be not you envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them. For the heart studied instruction and the talk of mischief. Through wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. A wise man strong, yea, a man of not free strength. For by wise counsel shall you make war, and in the multitude of counselors, safety. Come on, give me verse 27, said man.
Prepare your work without, make it fit for yourself in the field, and afterwards build your house.
Now go ahead and tell them what prepare means, man.
Shalom, to be firm, to be stable, to be established, to be set up.
Tell them what without against is again, man. Shalom, brother Marvin. Shalom, brother Demetrius, man.
That's hoots, outside, outward, street, the outside.
The outside. You need to prepare yourself or establish yourself outside. What's the next verse, man?
That's be not a witness against your neighbor.
No, I'm talking about, I mean the next sentence, my apologies.
Say make it fit for yourself in the field.
Go ahead and tell them what make it fit for yourself is again, man.
Make it fit as a thought.
What's good, though?
To be ready, to make ready, to prepare.
So the field is, of course, the land, and then build your house. I want to discuss that because we done touched on a couple of those things already, but I want to go back. So let's go back to 1 Chronicles 28. As forth as the preparation of that house. I won't spend an inordinate amount of time discussing it. It might not be 28. Hold on. I might be thinking about something else in my brain. I know I better be looking at it. But come on back to 1 Chronicles. Shalom, Amuna. Come back over here to 1 Chronicles 28. I want verse 11. Come on with that. Matter of fact, make it 10.
See, take heed now, for Yahuwah have chosen you to build a house for the sanctuary. Be strong and do. And David gave to Solomon, his son, the pattern of the
Hold on, Paul, man. He said make a house for the sanctuary. Give me Ezekiel 37 and 20. Actually, Ezekiel 37 and 24. Shalom, brother Marcus, man.
And David, my servant, king over them. They all shall have one shepherd.
They shall have what?
One shepherd.
Pause, because we've been talking about that. I mentioned it throughout the week, but we're going to read it right now. Numbers 27 and 16. Numbers 27 and 16.
Let Yahuwah, the Elohim of the Ruach of all flesh, set a man over the congregation, which may go out before them, which may go in before them, which may lead them out, and which may bring them in. That the congregation of Yahuwah be not as sheep which have no shepherd.
Remember, we read that verse earlier in the week where the Lord stated that Yasharal was scattered, the sheep that don't have a shepherd. I want to say that's in 1 Kings 21. Come look at 1 Kings 21. Because, see, I was talking to Ish about this here too, man, and we're going to look at one of the last things at the end of the book of Judges in a second. Let me make sure that's where you want. I'm trying to be as efficient as possible. We ain't got to wait no time. It's 1 Kings 22. It's definitely not 21. Let me find out what it is, what he got to say. That's not it. There it is. Pick me up at verse 14. 1 Kings chapter 22, verse 14.
And Micaiah said, as Yahuwah lived, what Yahuwah saying to me, that will I speak. So he came to the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered him, Go and prosper, for Yahuwah shall deliver unto the hand of the king.
And the Malek said unto him,
How many times shall I adjure you that you tell me nothing but true in the name of Yahuwah?
And he said,
I saw all Yasharal scattered upon the hills
as sheep
that have not a shepherd. And Yahuwah said, These have no master. Let them return every man to his house in shalom.
That man said these people scattered and they have no master. Now, of course, you just seen that Moses prayed that Yasharal wouldn't be in that type of endeavor. Because this is what happened. Now, he's telling them to go back because Ahab's an idiot. But I want you to come back over here to Judges, right? I want to say it's the last book of Judges. What's it there? Chapter 20. 21, let me see. Right here in the last book of Judges, chapter 21. You can read verse 23 because we don't really need all that. You can read 21 and 23 though.
And the children of Benjamin did so, and took wives according to their number of them that danced, whom they caught. And they went and returned unto their inheritance, and repaired the cities, and dwelt in them. The children of Yasharal departed thence at that time, every man to his tribe and to his family. And they went out from thence, every man to his inheritance.
And he said in those days,
no Malek and Yasharal, every man did right in his own eyes.
Now come on back to verse 1 of chapter 17 of the same book of Judges. So I'm going to run this down 3 times, and then we're going to grab this proverb. Because it's contingent to the point that David is going to tell Solomon, and it's also contingent to the point that Yahuwah told Moses in the mountain. Hey, y'all need to be quiet. Come on.
And they said, an inheritance for them that
That's not Judges 17 anymore.
And it was a man of Mount Ephraim whose name was Micaiah, and he said unto his mother, the 1,100 of silver that were taken from you, about which you cursed.
God bless, Brother Smoke.
And spake of also in my ears, behold, the silver is with me. I took it. And his mother said, Baruch of Yahuwah, my son. And when he had restored the 1,100 shekels of silver to his mother
said what?
I had wholly dedicated the silver unto Yahuwah from my hand for my son, to make a graven image and a molten image. Now therefore I will restore it unto you. Yet he restored the money unto his mother, and his mother took 200 of silver, and gave them to the founder, who made thereof a graven image and a molten image. And they were in the house of Micah. And the man Micah had a house of gods, and made an ephod and teraphim, and consecrated one of his sons, who became his priest.
He say, and what he said?
In those days, no king in Yasharal. Every man did right in his own eyes.
Everybody did what was right in their own eyes. Are y'all familiar with that proverbs that say pretty much the same thing? Who familiar with that proverb? Is anybody in here familiar with that proverb? You familiar with that? What does it say, man? There is a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof is death. But I want you to come over here to Deuteronomy 12 and 1. Hey, sit down and be quiet. Joanne, you join. 12 and 1. These
the statutes and judgments which you shall observe to do in the land which Yahuwah Elohim of your fathers give you to possess
all the days
that you live upon the earth.
You shall utterly destroy
all the places wherein the nations which you shall possess serve their gods.
Upon the high mountains
and upon the hills
and under every
green tree.
Now see, we gonna pause. See, before you can even start to think about building a house for Yahuwah, and of course you can refer this back to Ezekiel 14. You need to destroy every single solitary idol in your heart. Anything that you put in your mind that come before God, you need to destroy it. Because you already know the first instruction is what? Have no other God before me. You cannot bring other gods into the house of Yahuwah and think that you're going to worship him in Ruach and in truth. And that's what we read in Jeremiah 7. You say you think you had delivered to come in my house and do all these things. See, this is what we think we straight at. I ain't worshiping no pagan gods, but you worshiping the idols of your heart. Just get it for him. Ezekiel 14, man. Give me about verse 6. Hey, why don't y'all sit down? This is not playtime. It's not. Don't look at your mama. You're old enough to know what's going on. You playing games. She got an excuse because she a baby. You ain't no baby. That's why you fail. Pick your hat up. Put it on your head. Thank you. Ezekiel 14 and 6.
Therefore, say unto the house of Yasharal, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, repent and turn from your idols.
Turn from your what?
Turn from your idols.
Okay.
And turn away your faces from all your abominations. For every one of the house of Yasharal or of the stranger that sojourn in Yasharal would separate himself from me and set up his idols in his heart and put a stumbling block of his iniquity before his face.
See the stumbling block? Tell him what a stumbling block is, man.
Mikshol, a stumbling, means or occasion of stumbling, a stumbling block.
A stumbling block can be a multitude of things. A stumbling block can be your pride. A stumbling block can be your job. You know what I'm talking about? A stumbling block can be anything. Tell them what iniquity is and stumbling block of iniquity in that passage. You know what I'm saying? See, people look at stumbling block. Like when I hear dudes say these women casting stumbling blocks because they dressing half naked. You don't even know that woman, bro. She can't cast no stumbling block in front of you because she don't know you. You know what I'm talking about? So that means that lust in your heart is a stumbling block for you. She's not one. Now, it's different if that woman knows you and then she's purposely trying to entice you by being half naked. Now she is trying to cause you to stumble, and the very pit that she's trying to cause you to fall in, she gonna fall in, because that's what Proverbs say. You know what I'm talking about? So you have to know the difference. Ain't nobody casting no stumbling block before you if they don't know you. To someone to cast a stumbling block, they have to purposely come to cast that in front of your feet so that you might trip. Most people tripping over the things of their own heart. You're going to never be perfect till you get that stuff up out of there. I can promise you that. And enticing. Now, what does James tell you about enticing? Tell him what iniquity is and get him James 1 and 12 right after that.
That's all bones.
And you already know what that is. That's iniquity. That's perversity. You know what I'm talking about? And it's the perversity of your own heart. Because he said, what about the heart? It's desperately wicked. And who can know it? Yahuwah search the heart and the reins to give every man according to his own work. He said the heart is deceitful above all things. That man said your leg will deceive you above anything on this earth. So you know what that means? Your heart is more deceitful than the devil himself. That's what that means. Go and get Jeremiah 17 and 9, man, on the house.
Say the heart deceitful above all and desperately wicked. Who can know it?
Pause. Tell him what deceitful above all is, man. I know we hear that. Don't you know in Proverbs it says, as a man thinks, so he is? Y'all familiar with that? Who in here not familiar with that? You familiar with that? Where's that then? Huh? What you got, spit in your mouth? Nasty nigga. I don't want to know no more about that.
Deceitful is cold, deceitful, sly, insidious.
Insidious? What? Tell them what insidious mean. Ain't this a movie called Insidious? Oh, yeah. Tell them what insidious mean by definition. Give them the white folks definition for insidious. Hey, man, pay attention. See, I know y'all don't understand because you're children. But see, each one of you young men, one day you're going to be a man. And the level of commitment that you have to certain things is going to dictate how your life goes. Now, I understand if you particularly don't care to be here and do this. That's your business. You know what I'm talking about? Because I don't know what your father teach or don't teach you. I'm talking to any one of you. I don't know. I don't live with you. You know what I'm talking about? But I know this here, though. This is a life and death situation you're dealing with. See, we're not here just to kick it. And I know you don't understand that because most of you haven't experienced death yet. You haven't walked up to a casket and seen a dead body in it. You ain't never touched a body and it was cold to the touch. No warmth, no heat, no blood, no nothing. You ain't never looked in the eyes of a dead body and seen no life. So you have no idea what that means at this particular point in your life. One day you will have that experience. And when you understand that experience, you will understand that you need to draw closer to Yahuwah than you could ever imagine. Because one day that's going to be you in that casket, cold, with no life in it. And if you don't got this word in you, you going to hell. And you're not going to hell because I'm trying to scare you. You're going to go because you did not take seriously the things that you should have taken seriously. See, every one of you young men in here, see, right now you're a child and you should be a child. But you also need to have something developed in you, and I can't get that to you. And that's work ethic, discipline, and commitment. That's your father's job to get that to you. Now, if they're giving it to you and you just choose to ignore it and say, I'm going to do what I want to do and I want to have fun, then just know your life is going to be horrible when you become a man. You're probably going to live pillar to post. You're probably going to have a low-grade woman. You're probably going to be utterly miserable and be ran over and disrespected by everybody you come across. Because nobody don't respect no man who ain't got no money and ain't got nothing going on. Nobody respect that. The only way you can be respected and be poor is if you're a man of godliness, integrity, and righteousness. That's it. Now, I can't give that to you. You got to want that for yourself. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know how. You got to have a hunger to learn and want to grow for yourself as a young man. Your daddy can't even make you be like that. That's got to be in you. Now, you want to sit around and look silly and think life a game? You're going to find that out real soon when you go on the other side of that door as a man. It's unforgiving out there. The world don't care about you, and the devil damn sure don't. But you know who do? Read them 1 Peter 5 and 8 for the young men in the building, man. Read them 1 Peter 5 and 8. Let them hear. Let them hear who do care about you.
Say, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walk about, seeking whom he may devour.
It might be verse 6.
Say, humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of Elohim, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him.
Casting all your what?
Your care upon
Why?
him, for he care for you.
That man care about you. If don't know about, matter of fact, give him Psalm 27, man. Pick me up at verse 4. I know it's somewhere in the vicinity. Pick it up at verse 4. Shalom, brother Shaul.
Say, one have I desired of Yahuwah that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of Yahuwah all the days of my life.
You might dwell where?
In the house of Yahuwah.
Read that again from the top.
Say, one have I desired of Yahuwah that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of Yahuwah all the days of my life.
See, everybody don't desire to dwell in the house of Yahuwah. Dwelling in the house of Yahuwah is not dwelling in the physical building. Dwelling in the house of Yahuwah is dwelling in Yahuwah himself. That his word is in you and you in his word. That's how you dwell in him. If you don't dwell in his word and his word don't dwell in you, you outside in the cold naked, my G. I don't think none of y'all done had the misfortune of sleeping outside before. I have. And I guarantee you, you don't want that experience. Now, if you can understand how you wouldn't want to sleep outside on the natural, I know full well you don't want to sleep outside of God's house. I can tell you that right now. Shalom, Mr. Hutch, man. Come on with it, bro.
It say, to behold the beauty of Yahuwah and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me.
Come on.
He shall set me upon a rock. And now shall my head be lifted up above my enemies round about me.
That's right.
Will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy?
You're offering this tabernacle what?
Sacrifices of joy.
Didn't we just talk about earlier this week that it's a spiritual house that you can offer up spiritual sacrifices? One of the things you need to think of, I don't care what you got going on in life. If you got a chance to know Yahuwah, you ain't got nothing bad going on. See, that's what nigga problem is. And that's why Yahuwah don't do nothing for you. Because you worry about what you ain't got versus what you got. It's a nigga got 10 times more money than you, 10 times more house than you, 10 times more cars than you, and he ain't got no joy because he ain't got God. Now, we just read yesterday in Revelation, I know your poverty, but you are rich. The reason why you don't value the riches in that aspect is because it can't indulge in your lusts. You know what I'm talking about? Because you don't value the riches that come with Yahuwah. Well, if you got Yahuwah, what do you lack? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You know what I'm talking about? Things might get ugly. Things might be difficult, but so what? That's to test your character. The man just said your heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? He said, I searched the heart and the reins to see what's in that. And that's why he said, hey, man, you got to be careful. If you casting that stumbling block of iniquity before yourself, that's what's going to cause. See, the devil's not causing you to fall. You causing yourself to fall. It's not the devil, it's you. He's just an easy scapegoat. You understand? He's the easy person to blame because you want to skirt personal responsibility. You know, I've told you this 1,000 times, and I'm going to tell you 1,001. I was raised that you must take the responsibility for the consequences of your actions, whether positive or negative. You made the choice and decision. You can't cry about the decision that you made. Remember, that's what Esau did, didn't it? And what happened with all them tears? Yahuwah didn't care. You made your choice. I don't care nothing about them tears you crying. See, nigga think because you're sad and you're crying, he supposed to be moved when he knew your thought process before you made that stupid decision that put you in the position to be crying in the first place. Come on, man. Where we at? Where to call it out, man? For your cousin get on the stream and say you ain't call it out again.
You go with Psalm 27?
No, keep on rolling.
I'll read Verse 6 again.
Psalm 27:6.
And now shall my head be lifted up round above my enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy.
That's right.
I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto Yahuwah.
Amen.
Hear, O Yahuwah, I cry with my voice. Have mercy also upon me and answer me.
Listen.
Seek you my face. My heart said unto you, your face, Yahuwah, will I seek.
Now, I don't know if this doesn't happen to none of y'all. I don't know if you heard a still voice that told you to seek his face. I hope if you did, your response was what he just said, your face I'ma seek. See, some people hear that still voice and you still seeking after what you want to do. Not you doing what you want to do. See, a lot of nigga problem is you who will be talking to you, but you be ignorant. Because you think your life about what you want to do. Guess what? What you want to do don't work. And you already know it don't work. But you so damn proud, idiotic, and stupid that you'll try to do it anyway when that man slapping you upside the head with a stone tablet telling you to go that way. You like, no, I'm going to go that way. See, the reason why I say that is, if you're not careful, he'll give you the mind to where you just going to keep on going that way. You know what I'm talking about? But he going to give you the mind that you're going to keep on going that way while you sitting there hearing his word thinking you going that way. Ain't that what he did with Saul? He let Saul think it was all good. Man, Ben rejected him. And he sat right there thinking, you know what, I'm good. I'm all right. I ain't in that bad of a position. That's a dangerous place to be. Go ahead, man. Don Joanne, sit your behind down.
Hide not your face from me. Put not your servant away in anger. You have been my help. Leave me not. Neither forsake me, O Elohim of my salvation. When my father and my mother forsake me.
This what became, when my who?
When my father and my mother forsake me.
Who gonna take you up?
Then Yahuwah will take me up.
That's what you have to look at. Even if your parents abandon you, you still got Yahuwah. I wouldn't care if your parents left you. I wouldn't care if your wife left you. I wouldn't care if your husband left you. I wouldn't care if your friends left you. Your children left you. You still got Yahuwah. I wouldn't care if you lost every goddamn dollar you had. You know what I'm talking about? You still got Yahuwah. That's the problem. You don't value him. You take him for granted. You know what I'm saying? Because you know why you take somebody for granted who you know is faithful because you think they always going to be there no matter what you do. They'll always be there. But one day you're going to look up and he's not going to be there. And you know why he ain't going to be there? Because you didn't value him from the jump street. You know what you value? You value the things that are important to you. So you have to ask yourself how important it is to you to dwell in the house of Yahuwah. You understand? What's the next thing I want? I don't even remember. Yeah, give me that definition for insidious.
This is Merriam-Webster. Say having a gradual and cumulative effect or subtle or awaiting a chance to entrap or treacherous, harmful but enticing, seductive.
It's something insidious is harmful. It's like this here, right? If you got diabetes, that brownie look enticing, but it's insidious because it's poison for your bloodstream. See, that's what insidious is, man. And insidious leads us right to what I asked for, which is the Epistle of James, chapter 1, verse 12. This is how dangerous lust and sin is. It's literally insidious. Because notice he said a definition. It's something to learn. It look good to you. Whole time it's gonna keep. The Epistle of James, chapter 1, verse 12.
Say, Baruch the man that endured temptation, but when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which Yahuwah hath promised to them that love him. Let no man say when he is tempted, I'm tempted of Elohim, for Elohim cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempt he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust hath conceived, it bring forth sin.
It bring forth what?
Bring forth sin.
And sin bring forth?
When it is finished, bring forth death.
He said, do not
err, my beloved brother.
Come on back to Ezekiel 14, man. Brother Hutt say, man, people let a thug take their daughter out and hit on her and defile her, but won't let the same man drive his pride and joy. Ain't that something? You'll let a low down, dirty nigga take your daughter out and do God knows what with her, but you won't let that same nigga drive your car. How the hell you value your car more than your daughter? But I told you this before. Niggas value personal possessions more than they value their own soul. Niggas value doggone the opportunity at vagina more than they do. Niggas will put more research in a car and appliances and everything else than the woman you will put your seed in. See, that backwards right there, man. That don't make sense. That's crazy. You know what I'm talking about? Come on, Ezekiel 14:6. Come on, Carl, sit on down now.
So therefore, saying to the house of Yasharal, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, repent, turn from your idols, turn away your faces from all your abominations. For every one of the house of Yasharal or of the stranger that sojourn in Yasharal, which separate himself from me and set up idols in his heart.
Set up idols where?
In his heart.
What's gonna happen?
And put the stumbling block of his iniquity before his face.
What's gonna happen?
And come to a prophet to inquire of him concerning.
He said, I'm gonna answer that man my doggone self.
and I will set my face against that man, and I will make him a sign and a proverb. I will cut him off from the midst of my people. You shall know that I, Yahuwah.
That man say he gonna kill you. Come on back to Deuteronomy 12. Deuteronomy 12. Go ahead, read me verse 2, man.
You shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations you shall possess serve their gods, upon the high mountains and upon the hills, under every green tree.
You shall overthrow
their altars, break their pillars, and burn their groves with fire.
And you shall hew down
the graven images of their gods,
and you shall destroy the names
of them out of that place.
You shall not do so under Yahuwah your Elohim. See, you need to destroy all the idols out of your heart, but don't do that with Yahuwah, though. That's what he said. Okay. But unto the place
which Yahuwah your Elohim shall choose out of all your tribes
to put his name,
unto his habitation shall you seek.
And what?
There you shall come.
Listen, go back to Ezekiel 37, 25 or 24. Let me finish that out. See, notice, right? People get stuck on a physical tabernacle. Now you can come to Yahushua HaMashiach. I can tell you that in Ezekiel 11. I make a sanctuary for all the places that you've been scattered. Now, you know full well this man ain't make no doggone temple in every place there's people at. Because that's what you thought he was talking about. But we'll read it for the people who know what I'm talking about. Cut it out. This ain't no huggathon. Sit down. Sit down. Come on.
And David, my servant, king over them, they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. They shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob, my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, they and their children and their children's children.
Listen
forever.
to them.
And my servant David, their prince forever.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, I will make a covenant of shalom with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them.
He's going to set his sanctuary where?
In the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their Elohim. They shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, Yahuwah, do sanctify Yasharal, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore.
Give me Ezekiel 11. Tell me what verse 12 says.
And you shall know that I, Yahuwah.
Hold on. We still holding Deuteronomy 12 and 1 Chronicle 28. Ezekiel 11 and what? 12? Come on with it.
You shall know that I, Yahuwah, for you have not walked in my statutes, neither executed my judgments, but have done after the manners of the heathen that are round about you. And it came to pass when I prophesied that Pelatiah, the son of Benaiah, died. Then fell I down upon my face and cried with a loud voice and said, Yahuwah Elohim, will you make a full end of the remnant of Yasharal? Again, the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, Son of man, your brethren, the men of your kindred, all the house of Yasharal holy, they unto whom the inhabitants of Jerusalem have said, Get you far from Yahuwah, unto us is this land given in possession. Therefore say, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim,
although
I have cast them far off among the heathen,
although
I have scattered them among the countries,
yet I
be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come.
Tell them what little sanctuary means, man. He said, I'll be a little sanctuary to you, man.
Little is ma'at, littleness, few, a little, small. Sanctuary is Mikdash.
Mikdash, I know what that is. Now, listen, this ain't a physical building. He said, I will be that sanctuary in all the places that I have scattered you. Tell him what song. I'm going to read you Psalms 91. You just stay where you at. Look what this man said. He say, Lord, you have been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever had formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting. Elohim, you, Elohim. You know that this man say he was your dwelling place before the world was even made. See, this is the problem, is that most people don't want to find that rest in Yahuwah. That ain't where you want to be at. Read verse 16 in Ezekiel 11 one more time, if you would, please, sir.
Therefore say, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, although I have cast them far off among the heathen, and although I have scattered them among the countries, yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come.
Come on.
Therefore say, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, I will even gather you from the people and assemble you out of the countries where you have been scattered. I will give you the land of Yasharal.
And they shall come hither.
And they shall take away all the detestable things thereof and all the abominations thereof.
See, before you can even be in that place of that sanctuary, you got to get all them detestable abominations up out of you. They got to go. You know what I'm talking about? He just told you, cast away from you all your iniquity, so iniquity won't be your ruin. Cast away from you all your transgressions, so iniquity won't be your ruin. Come on with it, man.
And I will give them one heart.
Give them what?
one heart.
And I'll do what else?
Put a new ruach within you.
And I will take out what?
The stony heart out of the flesh, and will give them a heart of flesh.
That they might what?
Walk in my statutes and keep my ordinances and do them. They shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. But whose heart walk after the heart of their detestable things and their abominations?
Guess what he said he gonna do?
I will recompense their way upon their own heads, saith Yahuwah Elohim.
Then did the what?
Cherubims lift up their wings.
And the wheels.
Beside them.
And the esteem of Elohim.
Of Yasharal over them above.
And the esteem of Yahuwah.
Went up from the midst of the city and stood upon the mountain which on the east side of the city.
You see how them cherubims were right there with Yahuwah covering them up. Read that Jeremiah 17:9 one more time. We finish with that. Move on.
The heart deceitful above all and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Yahuwah searched the heart and tried the reins, even to give every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his doings.
Give me Deuteronomy 12:4.
You shall not do so unto Yahuwah your Elohim,
but unto the place
which Yahuwah your Elohim shall choose out of all your tribes to put his name there.
There.
Unto his habitation shall you seek.
And thither.
You shall come.
And thither you shall bring your what?
Burnt offering.
And your what?
Sacrifice.
And your
tithe.
And your
heave offering.
And your
vows. And your freewill offerings. And the firstlings of your herds and of your flocks.
And there shall you eat before
Yahuwah your Elohim.
And you shall rejoice.
And all that you put your hand unto, you and your households wherein Yahuwah your Elohim have baruched you. You shall not do after all that we do here this day.
You shall not do what?
All that we do here this day.
Every man whatsoever.
Right in his own eyes.
See, they were doing that then. See, that's what. Shalom, Brother Ernest. Hold on. So it ain't an alien ship coming? No, ain't no alien ship coming. You know what I'm talking about? You know, everybody, they were talking about that earlier today. They were saying it's more going to be, well, at least publicly, they saying it's going to be an eye hazard. They say we're not in the path of it, so we won't have them problems. You know what I'm talking about? Because they basically telling people to get the proper glasses if you want to be silly enough to go outside and look at it. It's going to be a dummy who's going to go out there and look at it with their bare eyes and be blind. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? But I know with things of that nature, like my man said, the next time this going to happen is in 2044. You know what I'm saying? So for me, a sign of Yahuwah is not something you can put on a time clock that you know X amount of years you know it's coming. When that sign of Yahuwah coming, it's coming for the specific purpose of warning the people. That's why we mentioned that about don't be dismayed at the signs of heaven. Because it is a sign. Sure, it's a sign. He told you that. But you don't need to be dismayed at it. You know what I'm talking about? Because that ain't got nothing to do with you. He say the heathen are dismayed at it. See, the thing that come in that is so many people so ready for the word to be accomplished that you speak presumptuously and hastily. And in turn, you're going to damage your credibility. The man has told you what's going to happen. But there's a multitude of things that have to happen before this thing is over. A multitude. We ain't even nowhere near that. And you know how we ain't nowhere near that? Because there's nobody. I know people like to say people being persecuted for the word. Nobody is being persecuted for the name of Yahushua en masse in this earth. That's not happening. You know how we know that's not happening? Because you niggas on the internet all day, every day. I ain't even talking about no other country. We'll just talk about this one. Ain't nobody coming bothering you. Ain't nobody coming bothering you. I don't care if you're teaching right doctrine or false doctrine. Ain't nobody going to jail for mentioning the name Yahushua or Jesus. Nobody is being killed at all for doing that. And all you're going to do is try to come up with some stuff talking about some Facebook banning, some Instagram shadow banning to justify the stupidity and pride in your own mind because you're trying to elevate yourself to be more important than what you really are. You know what I'm talking about? That's all you're doing. Because let me tell you something, man. When these people coming for your neck about the word, nigga, you going to know. It's going to be unmistakable. You know how ain't nobody bothering you about no word? Because it's punks, sissies, and faggots all over the place. It's whoremongers and adulterers all over the place. It's idolaters all over the place. Ain't none of them uncomfortable about what you talking about. You know how you know most of these niggas ain't something to preach no word? Because all you doing is arguing theological conversations amongst yourselves. Sinners ain't uncomfortable when they see you. And the poor and humble ain't happy when they see you. You understand? What do I mean by that? If you got the word of everlasting life, if you got the gospel, those who desire salvation will be in joy when you come because they know the word of God has come upon them. because they know what you're bringing. You understand? But see, sinners gonna be uncomfortable when they see you because they know you bringing the gospel, and it's gonna condemn their whole life, and they gonna grind their teeth. And you know what I'm talking about? What he says, it's gonna be weeping and gnashing the teeth. They gonna grind it on their teeth when they see you. Because every time you drop the word, they heart condemn them. See, let me show you something, man. Give me Psalms 37, man. Tell me about what verse 30 say. I'll let David tell it to you. Man, these niggas crazy as hell, man. Man, you ain't doing the work arguing amongst yourself. The people don't care about that. That's right. And then you ain't even got to say nothing. It's just the fact you pulled up. How many times the Lord pulled up them niggas went to gnashing on them in their heart? He ain't even opened his mouth yet. They were coming up with ways to try to trap him up in his speech. Because they was condemned as soon as he slid in the spot. But all those who wanted the word, take what his name is. Dang, his name escaping me, man. The dude who climbed up in the tree. You know what I'm talking about? But people like him, soon as they seen him, they like this here, boy, I'm trying to holler at him because he got what I'm looking for. Yeah. His name escaped me at this time. I know it's in Luke 18. We'll pull it up for his name. His name escaped me. I think so. That what was in my mind, but I wasn't sure. I believe that's what it is right there. We'll confirm it in a second. Come on.
Say the mouth of the righteous speak wisdom, and his tongue talk of judgment.
He said the righteous do what?
Speak wisdom.
So the righteous gonna speak a skill, which means because they fear God, and then their tongue gonna speak a mishpat, which means they gonna speak of what's right and what's wrong, and not just what's right and what's wrong is for if sinners is concerned, but what right and what's wrong is for if his righteousness is concerned. Do you remember when the Lord came to Peter and he said, hey, man, he said, man, if you had, matter of fact, we'll just read it. Give me Luke 11. Give me Luke 11, man. Give me verse 44. Matter of fact, I don't even think that's what it is. Because I'm about to say it wrong. That's why we got to read it. So since I'm finna say it wrong, that means we're going to have to pull it off the page. Just hold on, sir. I get you right. We get straight on to the point. Yeah. See, that wasn't even the chapter. It wasn't even the chapter. Hold on. I'm all off. Hey. Yeah. Over here in Luke chapter 7. My bad. I had y'all off. Luke chapter 7, verse 40, man. Listen to what the Lord say. Luke 7:40. He said, after a while, we'll catch up being a righteous warrior. What would it be like? Well, you got to give me a second. I had it in my mind to deal with this eating. I don't know if we're going to get there. It might be tomorrow. I can't make you no guarantees, Melly. Come on with it.
So Yahushua answered and said unto him, Simon, I have somewhat to say unto you.
He said,
Master, say on.
There was a certain creditor,
which had two debtors, the one owed 500 pence,
and the other 50.
And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both.
Listen, you ain't have nothing to pay. Remember what Psalms 49 say? Which one of you can get the redemption for his brother? See, we forget this parable, what he's trying to explain. This is why I tell y'all every time somebody get baptized, ain't a sin under heaven that there's not another person uncommitted since the world began. Now let me tell you something, right? You know what a lot of nigga problem is? You ain't did a lot of sinning in your life per se compared to somebody else. That's what he's telling you. He said, I got two people. One owed me 50, one owed me 500. Read it again, verse 42, man.
And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Tell me therefore.
Hold on, read 41 again.
Say there was a certain creditor which had two debtors. The one owed 500 pence and the other 50.
Listen.
When they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both.
Tell me.
Therefore, which of them will love him most?
He said, what? Which one gonna love him most? Simon answered.
It said, I suppose that he to whom he forgave most.
And he said unto him, you have what?
Rightly judged.
Now you see, judgment ain't always about, you sin. Judgment is knowing the just thing in a particular matter. You know what I'm talking about? He told him, you rightly judge. I mentioned that for it's the same thing that he told the publicans and the scribes and the Pharisees. When they say, what authority you speak these things? He say, I ask you this question. If you can riddle me this, I'll answer yours. He say, John the Baptist, was that a heaven or was it a men? They reason within themselves. They say, we can't tell. If we say a men, they might stone us because he's a prophet. If we say a heaven, he gonna say why you didn't believe him. They say we can't tell. See, they didn't rightly judge. You know what I'm talking about? And he say, since you can't tell me that, I ain't gonna tell you but what authority I do these in. Because he say John came by the way of righteousness, and the publican harlots seen him and rejoiced. And you know why? Because the publican harlots had much more to be forgiven of. They owed way more. So when that opportunity of the wiping out of that debt came, they were way more appreciative and we're going to love this man way, way more. See, a lot of niggas look at, you ain't really did a lot of sinning in your life. That's why you don't love that man like that, because you ain't have a lot to be forgiven for. Somebody who knows, well, they should have been in hell a long time ago. Oh, yeah. They look at this man a tad bit different. Because they know he done wiped out my debt I owe in my life. I know what I owed him. I know what I owed him. Well, I know I owed this man $100,000. Boy, that man told me you ain't got to pay that. That junk hit a whole lot different than nigga owe $100. You know what I'm talking about? So you have to sit back and look at that. How does that translate to your proper judgment and behavior? How does that translate into godly love? How does that translate into brotherly love? How does that translate into righteousness? How does that translate into kadoshness? How does that translate into a just weight and a just balance? How does that translate? How does that translate into faith? How does that translate into selflessness? How does that translate into making your life a living sacrifice acceptable to Elohim? How does that translate? Or you only think about what you can get and how you can get it and when you can get it? See, that's not proper judgment. I didn't think so. Come on with it, man. Amen, Brother Marvin. Amen. Read verse 41 again on general principle.
Say there was a certain creditor which had two debtors. The one owed 500 pence, the other 50. And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Tell me, therefore, which of them will love him most?
Simon answered,
I suppose that he to whom he forgave most. He said unto him, you have rightly judged.
And he turned to the woman and said unto Simon,
see you this woman? I entered into your house.
He said, you ain't give me no water
for my feet, but she have washed my feet with tears
and wiped them
with the hairs of her head.
You ain't give me no kiss.
But this woman, since the time I came in, have not ceased to kiss my feet.
He said, my hair with oil.
You did not anoint.
But this woman
have anointed my feet with ointment.
Wherefore I say unto you,
her sins, which are many,
are for what?
Forgiven.
For
she loved much.
But to whom
little is forgiven,
the same
loved little.
See, this is the point of what I'm talking about. Remember, it said, how beautiful are the feet of those that come upon the mountains. That woman knew what he had. That's why she was joyful at seeing him. But look at what he said. Peter been with him the whole time. That man said, boy, you ain't wipe my feet when you see me. You ain't anoint my head when you see me. You ain't do none of these things. But she did, though. And y'all got the nerve to talk about this woman? Well, at least not him. But the scribes anyway. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Come on with it, man. Finish it on that.
And he said unto her, your sins are forgiven. And they that sat at meat with him began to say within themselves, who is this that forgives sins also?
Look at what he said, Satan.
He said to the woman, your faith have saved you. Go in shalom.
Ain't that what happened when you came out of Egypt? Ain't that what happened with Noah? But these stupid niggas think that's law. You think he just pulled that out just to say that? Give me Luke 18:1. That's why I hate these things. 19, Luke 19.
And entered and passed through Jericho, and behold, a man named Zacchaeus, which was the chief of the publicans, and he was rich, and he sought to see Yahushua, who he was, and could not for the press because he was little of stature. And he ran before and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was to pass that way. When Yahushua came to the place and looked up, and saw him, he said unto Zacchaeus, make haste and come down, for today I must abide at your house.
He says, look here, because if that man wouldn't have had that level of joy for that word like that man that did all that, the Lord would have walked right past me. Listen what he said.
And he made haste and came down and received him joyfully.
Received him what?
Joyfully.
He said that man was happy.
And when they saw, they all murmured, saying that he was going to be guest with a man that is a sinner.
This is how niggas operate now.
And Zacchaeus stood and said unto the Lord, behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I have taken anything from any man by false accusation, I'll restore fourfold. Yahushua said unto him, this day salvation come to this house, for so much as he also is the son of Abraham, for the Son of Man is come to seek, to save that which was lost.
See, Zacchaeus knew he was lost. He was looking for that redemption. He know he owed. See, some people you don't think you owe, or you don't think you're going to have to pay for what you owe. That's what a lot of people's problem is. They don't think you're going to pay for what you owe. You're going to hell. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, you going. And you're not going because, you can't I ain't putting you in hell. You're putting yourself there. Ain't nobody putting you there. You're putting yourself there. You just don't like for somebody to let you know that you're putting yourself there and that you take accountability for your life and change it. See, all that wallowing in self-pity, woe is me. Ain't nobody trying to hear all that. Get your funky behind up and do something with yourself. You using that self-pity as a rhyme and reason to stay where you at. You know what I'm talking about? What that nigga now say? That nigga say, I forgot what he said, man. He said, all that crying, show me the baby. You know what I'm saying? Some people do all that crying, man. What all that crying gonna do? But I want to hear that. I ain't never want to hear. Y'all already know. I don't want to hear that. I ain't never want to hear that. Man, don't call me with that there, man. I know hard time. I ain't talking about if you talking about, yeah, I'm dealing with something. I'm talking about a pity party. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to turn down that invitation. I don't want to be a part of that. You know why I don't want to be a part of that? Because when you wallowing in your sorrows, you know when people say you wallowing in something, you know what you usually wallowing in? Filth. I don't want to wallow in filth. I'm a fly nigga. I'm not on that. You know what I'm talking about? I don't want to be dirty like that. The only way I want to be dirty is if I'm working. If I ain't working, I just ain't finna get dirty just to be dirty. For what? What's the purpose in that? Why would you want to be that? So when you sit back and you wallowing in your pity and in your sorrows, that means you really not looking for a solution to come out of that. Like I told him yesterday, trying to play the victim, that's not masculine. That's not masculine. After a while, don't nobody want to hear that. Okay, if you've been victimized, that's cool. Deal with it and move on with your life. Every time something go wrong, you're going to play the victim. Ain't nobody going to respect no man like that. See, we already know women do that. A woman will paint herself to be the victim in every scenario that go wrong in her life if you let her. I just seen a reel where a lady say she deal with married couples and her mentor taught her to never jump on the woman's side of the story first. She said, that's how you get deceived. He said, because she'll pick, this is a woman now, and she said she was trained by a woman. You know what I'm talking about? And she was like, yeah, man, they'll paint themselves out to be the victim the whole time. You get the whole story, you find out that's not the truth. But guess what? Your God already told you not to do that because he said out the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let a matter be established. He told you not to judge according to appearance, but judge righteous judgment. So you shouldn't be just running off what one person say. If you ain't talked to the other person, we can get to the bottom of it. You know, that's one of the tricks of the trick. That's how I'd be able to test you out to see how bad you really want to rectify that situation. Go call that nigga, go get that nigga, and we can talk about it right then. You don't want to do that right there. I don't even think you telling the truth at that point. Or if you is telling the truth, you don't really want to deal with it like you say you do. You trying to use me as a conduit to deal with what you don't want to deal with head on. You know what I'm talking about? Don't call me and ask me to go step to a nigga about some junkie they did, and you won't call that nigga there when you telling me about it. Yeah, don't do that because we too goddamn grown for that. And not damn one of you men in here should be entertaining stuff like that. Don't call me about this here if you're not going to go get that nigga. Your God don't condone that. And none of you men should be taking no information from nobody and giving no proper counsel. And you ain't heard the other side other than to say, I don't know if you tell. I ain't saying you're lying. You can get counsel on, well, if you saying this is true, this is how I will handle it. But the best I can do is go get that nigga. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about if somebody has offended you. Now, that's different if you're talking about how should I handle a situation, and you know what I'm talking about, in an interaction. That's different. I'm talking about if somebody done really, this nigga did X, Y, Z, or I saw this nigga doing this. Don't tell me about what you saw a nigga do. Matter of fact, don't even tell me what you heard a nigga do if you ain't see it, because I don't want to hear about it. Because if you're going to tell me about, if you're going to tell me about what you heard, what somebody did, I sure hope you bring them with you when you tell me how you heard about it. Nigga can tell me, I done heard a lot of things. I ain't never stepped to a nigga like I heard a nigga say this about you. Hell no. For what?
That's similar like how with the people, they try to get the homes to kill y'all and shots that we can't do it for our law.
Yeah, you do it. You do it. We know we can't do it. You know what I'm saying? You do it for us. Because that's why he said, judge him according to your law. Y'all say he wrong. This ain't got nothing to do with me. You trying to use me to do your dirty work for you. See, I ain't finna let a nigga do me like that because I don't do dirty work. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't no hitman. We don't do none of that. Only dirty work we do is nasty houses. Ain't that right? Whether that's trash or they just nasty. You still clean the houses with animals in it?
Yeah.
That's nasty. That's dirty work. That's dirty work. You know what I'm talking about? But that's good though, because you know some of them folks, boy, they let their animals run amok in that house, boy.
The lady that had electric pets, I stopped cleaning.
I would have too.
Yeah. Cat all the time.
I'm talking about, boy, you walk in the house, somebody got a whole bunch of cats, boy. That junk smell like ammonia in that hole. You know what I'm talking about?
It's hard to get the smell.
You can't, it ain't coming out. You got to tear down. You got to take all the drywall out. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't even know necessarily they just foul and nasty. It's just the fact that this animal had been using the bathroom inside this home, and you got so many of them that you can't get that litter box out the door fast enough to make sure that that smell don't resonate in your home. See, we're not talking about a cat or two. We talking about like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Yeah, you can't get that out of the house, man. I don't blame you. I don't want to clean that either. Man, I went to I remember I went and quoted the house one time. I think it was one of your people, Lil John. Man, she had a trailer off Beach Boulevard, and it was a while back. Man, I walked in that house, I walked right out. You know what I'm talking about? I said, boy, nasty this house is, I can't do nothing with it. Now, this lady was physically incapacitated, so she had an excuse. But that house was so nasty, only the Lord himself could have blessed that house and get it clean, because I know I wouldn't. They do. I got to live it. It's some things I ain't doing. Because that house wasn't no coming back from that. Man, you come in some houses, man, them people been broke down physically and can't do nothing. It's over. You know what I'm talking about? It's over. Come on, man. What we hope? In 1 Chronicles 20. We finished with Deuteronomy 12. Because we read that they doing what's right in their own eyes. Come on back to Chronicles 28. Verse 10. All that just from Lamar. You with the shenanigans.
Say, take heed now for you.
Again, it's the same thing. You got to be strong. You got to prevail. You got to overcome. You got to have the heart, will, and desire. The heart, will, and desire to build that house. You got to have the strength of faith to build that house and the willingness to do the work. That's why the just live by their faith. So I'm be honest with you. Everybody not willing to do what's required and what's necessary. Y'all know that though. But you got to make sure that you got what's required and what's necessary. Because it's your soul that's on the line. It ain't your wife's soul. It ain't your son's soul. It ain't your mama's soul. That's your soul. Can't nobody save you but you. But nigga who don't want to be saved. I can tell you that right now. I've been in this game a long time and why people do that. You ain't got yourself saved. What you trying to save them for? Well, that's fake distress. That's right. She just looked at it. I said, that's fake distress on your end, baby. You don't even know where you're going, what you want to do. Mike, what you got going on? You look like you're looking for something to fondle with. Mm-hmm. That's what you're doing. I see you. Come on, man.
Say, then David gave to Solomon his son the pattern of the porch.
Gave him what? Gave him the what?
The pattern of the porch.
Tell him what pattern is again.
Have needs, pattern, plan, the form, construction, the figure.
The form, the construction, the figure. He said the pattern of the what?
Of the porch.
And the houses.
Thereof.
And the treasuries.
Thereof.
And the upper chambers.
Thereof.
And the
parlors thereof.
And the place of the what?
Mercy seat.
Tell them what inner parlors is, though.
Inner is pen to me, that's the inner, the interior. And parlors is padur, chamber, room, parlor, the innermost. The
again,
part.
The inward part. I want to come over here to Luke chapter 5. I want to look at verse 29. Give me 27. Tell me what that says.
And after these things, he went forth and saw a publican named Levi sitting at the receipt of custom. And he said unto him, follow me. He left all, rose up, and followed him. Levi made him a great feast in his own house. There was a great company of publicans and of others that sat down with him. Mm-hmm. But the scribes and Pharisees murmured against his disciples, saying, why do you eat and drink with publicans and sinners? Yahushua answered and said unto them, they that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. I came not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance.
Listen what he said.
They said unto him, why do the disciples of John fast often and make prayers? And likewise of the Pharisees, but yours eat and drink.
They eat and drink.
He said unto them, can you make the children of the bride chamber fast while the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, Then shall they fast in those days.
Mm-hmm.
He spake also a parable unto them.
What's that parable he spake?
No man put a piece of new garment upon an old.
Can't put a piece of new garment on the old.
Otherwise, then both the new make a rent, and the piece that was taken out of the new agreed not with the old.
It agreed not with the what?
With the old.
It agreed not with the what?
The old.
See, a lot of people don't realize that, boy, that new don't agree with the old. And you know why that new don't agree with the old? Because you ain't getting justified by the older in contrast to the new, but they don't want to hear that conversation. Come on.
And no man put new wine into old bottles, else the new wine will burst the bottles and be spilled, and the bottle shall perish. But new wine must be put into new bottles, and both are preserved. No man also having drunk old, straightway desire new.
Because why?
He saith the old is better.
See, when we looked at earlier in Ezekiel, when he said, I'm going to make you a new heart and a new spirit. See, a lot of people, you straightway desire your old way of living, your old way. But I ain't even talking about just the living. Bump the living. You desire your old way of thinking. You know what I'm talking about? See, you have to sit back and look at it, man, that after you say you've been studying the word, you've been laying the word up in your heart, this, that, there, and the third. You need to ask yourself, do you still think the same? And when I say think the same, I'm talking about, do you judge and view every situation and still judge it in an ungodly fashion? Do you look at it in a carnal fashion? Or do you look at the situation and judge it according to the righteousness of Elohim? You look at it. When you assess the situation, do you say, is this the mind? See, again, it's not the what would Jesus do, it's let this mind be in you. The same mind that was in Yahushua HaMashiach. Are you thinking like the word of God dictates how you ought to think when you look at situations and circumstances? Because if you're looking at situations and circumstances and you still leaning with carnality, you ain't been born again, nor have you made a new spirit, nor do you have a new heart, nor have you taken wisdom in your inward parts, and your inner chamber has no pleasant or precious riches in it whatsoever. It would be utterly impossible. Because what did he just say is inside that inner parlor? What's in there? What's in the Kadash of the Kadash behind the veil? What's in there? That means God in there. So guess what's supposed to be in your inner sanctum? Yahuwah's supposed to be in there. Which is what the Lord told you in John chapter 14. So that means that's how you sit back and say, let this mind be in you. Because when you go into that inner parlor, Yahuwah's supposed to be there. Your Elohim's supposed to be there. Ruling over your heart, because he would be literally having dominion over his house. Ain't that what he said, the chief shepherd? Didn't he say that the chief shepherd is over all the shepherds and the shepherd is over the house of God and you are his house? So that means that he and you, he got rule over you. Does he have dominion over you? Or are you trying to exercise dominion over him? And when you go with your own thoughts, your own ways, your own doings, you trying to exercise dominion over him. Because what did Genesis 3:15 say? And your desire should be to your who? Your husband, and he should do what? Rule over you. Is he ruling over you? Or are you trying to rule over him? Or are you the woman that you like to talk about on the internet all day who is rebellious, unsubmissive, disobedient, and lacks shut-upness? Uh-oh. We're going to get in trouble on that one with some niggas. They're going to tear the house down. That's a foolish woman. You trying to tear the house down. But the house... Where we at with it, my G? Where you just reading from?
That was 2:5.
Yeah. You come back to Chronicles, man. I want you to read verse 12. First Chronicles 28:12. Hey, let that baby alone. You're not going to be able to you ain't did nothing wrong. You just not going to be able to control it. So just leave it alone. You hear me? Hey, chill out. You ain't did nothing wrong. You just can't regulate her. She ain't gonna listen to you like that. Come on, verse 12.
And the pattern of all that he had by the Ruach. And
he got the pattern by the what?
By the Ruach.
He got the pattern by the what?
By the Ruach.
Now just read me Luke 24 and 44 in the house. I ain't never seen you act like this.
And he said unto them, these the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses, and the prophets, and in the Psalms.
Concerning what?
Then opened he their understanding.
That they might what?
Understand the scriptures.
And what else?
And said unto them, thus it is written, thus it behooved Mashiach to suffer, to rise from the dead the third day, that repentance and remission of sins should be preached in his name among all nations.
That's good. Now, give me John 7:37 on the house. When he spoke these words, y'all know what feast day it was, right? In John 7:37. What feast day was it? It was tabernacle. And you know why that's important with these words that he about to speak? Because he seeks to dwell with you. I reference Psalm 68 a lot when he say he's taken captivity captive and ascended on high and got gifts for men, even for the rebellious also, that Yahuwah Elohim might dwell amongst them. It is Yahuwah's desire, and as all clearly, because we've seen it all week, it's Yahuwah's desire to dwell with you. But do you desire for him to live with you? That is the question. See, him living with you is not you showing up for no Sabbath. It ain't you showing up for no feast, because anybody can do that. Judah showed up for all of them, and you know what he did. You know what I'm talking about? You had them people in John chapter 6, they showed up and followed him everywhere he went. And when he told them they had to drink his blood and eat his flesh, because whoever drink my blood and eat my flesh live by me as I live by Abba, they stopped walking with him. So you have to get past. See, I'm going to tell you something. That's why we read about them assemblies, and I might go back over them assemblies briefly before we finish up this evening, because tomorrow night, you know what I'm talking about? I'm going to extend my time. Because it's a Sabbath. I'm going to extend my time. You know, I'm not trying to go in an entirely too long of a fast this evening. But listen, one thing to tell you. One thing I say, because we read it in with that first assembly in Sarges, nigga be in the word and nigga get too comfortable. And you know what ends up happening over time? They just go to showing that niggas don't really want to do this. And you think because you've been showing up that means that you really want to do this. But your life and your decisions is showing that this ain't really that important to you. What it ends up showing is that everything you got, remember what he told you in in Matthew 13 with the parable of the sower. There are 4 different types of people. There's one who don't understand it, and the adversary come and steal that seed away. There's those who don't have no root, and when persecution and tribulation arise because of the word, they're offended. But most people fall into that third one. The cares and affairs of this life and the deceitfulness of riches is choking off the word, and you ain't producing no peace, no joy, no long suffering, no goodness, no meekness, no self-control. That's what most niggas' problem is. You too concerned about the cares and affairs of this life when this man told you to seek the kingdom and all these things be added unto you. And all that stuff you're going to get in life, you're going to go to hell with it, because he say, what good is a man if he gain the whole world? See, you think gaining the whole world is being rich. See, gaining the whole world is getting your desires. And this is how we know the love of the Father ain't in you. Because he said, if you love the world and the lust of, he said, what is in the world? The lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. And he said, the love of Abba is not in you. So when you overly concerned with, I need to do this, I got to do this, I got to do that, I need to do that, I need to do this, and you ain't did nothing with Yahuwah, you going to hell. And you know why you going to hell? Because that seed, that word that got planted in your heart, it ain't going to do what that person who understood it and did, produce fruit, some 30, some 90, some 100-fold. So you got to ask yourself, how much manner of goodness, meekness, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, self-control, faith, love, joy, and peace have you produced on it? Remember, he said in Jeremiah 17, right? Blessed is he that trusts in Yahuwah, whose hope Yahuwah is. He said he'll never cease from yielding what? So that means you would never stop from producing those things. It's not you produced it once and then, yeah, I got the fruit. See, that's what goofy niggas think. See, pussy niggas think because you did. Remember, we didn't read it in Titus. If you say you know him, but in works deny him, every good work you do, he rejects. So I'm not taking that. Yahuwah Baruch yet to die, man. He said, man, I'm not taking that. I don't want that. What am I going to do with that? That is a continual thing. You understand? Read Jeremiah 17 and 7, man. I'll read it again. Jeremiah 17 and 7, right to Galatians 5 and 21. Because remember, he talking about the form and construction by the Ruach. I'm dealing with this here because you know in John 14, John 15, and John 16, that man say when the Ruach is in you, he will bear witness to him. Is that not what he said? That means he giving you the form and construction of the house. Now, I just heard a dude today say when you baptize somebody, you baptize them into your teachings. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life, man. That's why I hate these niggas. When you baptize somebody, you're not baptizing them into your teachings. You baptizing them into Yahushua HaMashiach, because that's what you supposed to been preaching. When you tell a nigga, when you baptize a nigga, you baptize them into your teachings, you just told me you a goddamn fool and God ain't sent you. That's what you just told him. Because what did Paul say? He said, were you baptized for Paul? Were you baptized for Barnabas? You're not baptizing into my teeth. You get that. What did he tell that eunuch, man? That man said, you believe he the son of God? That's what you're getting baptized into. That's how I know these niggas stupid. Because you only going to baptize a nigga who you taught. If that person came up and they heard the gospel of the Lord out your mouth, you don't even know what they heard before that to put the pieces together. And they say they want to be baptized, then suck a nigga, you supposed to do it. If you a preacher, if you've been sent, what you say, sis? Okay. Does that mean they got the fellowship with you? No. Does that mean they baptized into your teachings? Where did the Ethiopian eunuch go after Philip baptized him? We don't know. She said that's Pentecostal apostolic food. I believe you. I'm not familiar, so I'm going to take your word on that. Come on, say Jeremiah 17:7. Be quiet.
Say, Baruch, the man that trusts in Yahuwah, whose hope Yahuwah is, for he shall be as a tree planted by waters and spread out her roots by the river. It shall not see when heat comes, but the leaf shall be green. It shall not be careful in the day of drought, in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit.
Neither steals from yielding parade. Galatians 5:21. In 1 Corinthians 13, Paul made a statement. He said, love don't do what? That do say that. That's not the one I'm looking for, but that is correct. I can't deny it. Huh? It never fails. So guess what? If love never fails, and Elohim is what? Love, that means Yahuwah don't fail. That means Yahusha don't fail. That means the word don't fail. And if that means it don't fail, that means it produced what he sent it to produce. So if the word is in you and you in the word, then the word should produce these things here all the time. Not when it's convenient, but all the time. Listen.
It said envyings, murders.
No, ain't no off days, man. What you think this is on the basketball court? All jokes aside, in Galatians 5:16, that's why he say if we walk in the Ruach, you got to live in it. So that's the just living by their faith. You got to live in it. And you got to live in it when it's not convenient. You can't use a bad day as an excuse not to live in it. You can't use something not going your way as an excuse not to live in it. See, we look for reasons for, okay, I can behave this way because I had a bad day. Who give a damn if you had a bad day? Somebody had a worse day. You know who had a worse day? A nigga who died without the word. They had a way worse day than you. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't even talking about on a natural tip because you could be having a bad day. And, of course, you could have had somebody just got evicted from their home. House just got foreclosed on. They just lost their job. Nigga stole them for every dollar they got. Nigga got divorced and got took for everything. He's sitting looking in the house like, what I'm going to do? We ain't even got to bring death into the equation. You just had a bad day because you ain't get what you wanted. Or a nigga said something you didn't like. Now you around here ruining your day as an excuse to act ungodly because you in your feelings. Nobody don't give a damn. Grow your silly behind up, nigga. Niggas too goddamn old for that. Nigga be damn near 30, pouting like they 7. Come on, man. And the thing is, you know where that junk come from? Because we live in a society that tell you to overvalue your emotions and your feelings. It's okay if you upset, but you being upset don't justify you for acting like an a-hole or acting like a child. You're not justified for that. Because I'm not saying that your feelings are not valid, but they're not valid enough to cause you to act uncouth, much less ungodly. They're not. There's no excuse for that. Because what did he tell you? He said offenses will come. And then guess what? Every time something happens, ain't since somebody offended you, it's because you spend too much time in your feelings. And that man told you, we finna read it, that everybody that's Mashiach have crucified their affections and lust. So how you in the Lord and you always in your feelings? And I don't care if you a male or female, ain't no excuse for that. More specifically, men, but you get women. You know, women have a proclivity to lean towards their emotions. So remember, we didn't talk about that before. You got to dwell with your wives according to knowledge. He said, I know your frame is but dust. So he had compassion on you. So as a man, you have to understand that they have a proclivity to lean into their emotions. See, the thing is you can help walk her through those emotions, but she doesn't get to allow to hold you hostage by them. That's what you're not going to get to do. You're not going to feel like you can hold me up and then do this, that, then the third because you in your feelings, because you will not. And the thing is, you have to be man enough, compassionate enough, and wise enough, and strong enough to look her in the face and call her out for that. And if she does not want to be walked through her emotions to be able to handle that, then she's just not an adult. And guess what? And you can look in the face and tell her clearly you are an immature child, because that's how you behave. And that type of behavior is not acceptable for me. So you need to go sit down and figure that out, because it's not my job to figure that out for you. You grown. I ain't gonna do it. You do that, children. I'm not doing that for no grown woman. It's okay if you upset. If you cannot, listen, this one tell you, right? If you as a grown person, whether male or female, cannot properly express why you feel the way that you feel, not just telling me about feelings, but why you feel the way that you feel, how these feelings are relating to how you thinking or how you behaving, and you just feel like you can just be in a particular type of mood and do me any kind of way, I'm not going to allow you to do that. I'm not going to allow you to do that. Absolutely not. I can't allow you to do that, because the first time I allow you to do that, I'm going to have to do that for the rest of my dealings with you for the rest of my days. That's the same way when that boy said, I don't chase booty. He said, because if I chase my wife, I have to chase her forever. See, the way you start, son, is the way you're going to finish it. If you allow that, you're going to always have to do it. So you have to draw that line in the beginning. I don't have no problem with you having emotions. I don't have no problem with you expressing them. I can help you. We can walk through them. You know what I'm saying? If I did this, that, we can do all that. But what you're not going to do is hold me hostage or think that you can use that to make me dance on your puppet string. That I will not do. And you know how I know that? Because Yahuwah not going to let you do that to him. So I'm not going to let you do that to me. Because as an adult, not your husband, brother, whatever, that's not fair to me. You understand how selfish that is? Oh, no. Oh, no. Girl, hush. And like I said, it just shows a level of immaturity, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Because regardless if a woman has a proclivity to emotions, you're still supposed to have a level of maturity as a grown woman to know how to govern and behave. You know what I'm saying? Even as a man, you can't use your emotions as an excuse for foul behavior. Too many people use their emotions as an excuse for foul behavior, as if I'm supposed to give you a pass for that. Yeah, that man said, that's what he said. Now. He definitely said, be angry and sin not. And I ain't even talking about anger. So I told you, we live in a way too emotional society. I've been telling you that for a long time, man. When you are overly emotional, you can be controlled. You can be controlled. That's why Satan wants you in the flesh. That's why this society wants you to be emotional, because when you are emotional, you are easily controlled, because I can sway you and move you based off your emotions. That's why they use fear as the greatest emotion to move people with, because it is a great manipulating tool. You know what I'm talking about? Just to be 100% honest with you. It's a great manipulating tool. This is why the Apostle John said that there's no fear in love, because perfect love casts out fear. So perfect faith don't cast that out. Therefore, you can't be manipulated in that fashion. See, that's what they're trying to do with people tomorrow with that eclipse. They're trying to use fear to manipulate you. See, we be screaming about stuff, be distractions and all that stuff. Ain't nobody distracting you from nothing, because you niggas wasn't paying nothing attention to nothing any goddamn way. That's right. Keep calm and carry on. That's all you can do. Listen what I'm telling you, right? When you're dealing with these people, man, and how they move, if your mind is focused on you couldn't be distracted. Meaning, you can sit back and see them talking about Puffy or pervert. That's not going to distract you, because you locked on your mission. See, these niggas can't chew bubblegum and walk at the same time. And you know why they can't do it? Because they get overly invested in these people. It's just the talking. Oh, if they doing this here, they trying to distract us from what's really going on. What's really going on is you going to hell, dummy. We got to focus on what's the thing they doing. If whatever they doing, you couldn't stop it. No way. I don't know who do you niggas think you is. We got to stop the NWO. How you going to stop them? They got the money and the guns. The power and the control. So the only person who can stop him is Yahuwah. You can't stop him. You can't stop them. Whatever these people want to do, they're going to do it. But get what? All you need to worry about is what Yahuwah going to do and serve him. Whatever they do is whatever they do. What they got to do to you? Where we at with it, good sir? Read that for me.
Say, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of which I tell you before, as I've told you in times past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim.
What else, good sir?
But the fruit of the Ruach is love, joy, shalom.
The fruit of the Ruach is what?
Love.
So you got to ask yourself, are you continually producing love? What else?
Joy.
Do you have the joy of Yahuwah as your strength? Do you stay in the joy of Yahuwah?
Shalom.
You have peace?
Long suffering.
Do you have the ability to suffer wrong?
Gentleness.
Are you gentle with people? Given what gentleness means by definition, you can shoot long suffering in there with it.
Long suffering. Mia, that's patience, endurance, constancy, steadfastness, perseverance.
You got perseverance. You got patience. Because patience work experience, and experience work hope, and hope make not ashamed.
Gentleness is taste. That's moral goodness, integrity.
You got integrity, which means if you got goodness, that means you got tamaim. You got that? Come on with it. What's the next one, man?
Goodness and faith.
Tell them what goodness is, man. You producing goodness?
That's uprightness of heart and life, goodness, kindness.
Kindness. Also upright, which would be Yashar. Are you kind? These are also the things that Yahuwah declared in Exodus 34, right? You producing God when people see you, man, all the time. Are you kind when it's convenient? Or you kind to who you like? Or are you kind to everybody? See, most people are only gentle and good to the people they like. They're not gentle and good to everybody. Ain't that what he told you in Matthew? What good is it if you salute your brethren? Don't sinners do the same? Also, what good is it to be kind to your friends, but not kind to people you don't? What good is it to be kind when you believe you're going to get a benefit in return, is what he was telling you in Matthew. Why you can't be kind and you know you ain't going to get nothing in return? See, most people, you ain't gentle, you ain't kind, you ain't good, you doing business. You want a transaction. You know, also the other thing, what most people get messed up, like we've been talking about this here, man, y'all looking for somebody to tell you what to do instead of if you see something that need to be done, just doing it. You know what I'm saying? Just do it. Don't look at why this nigga ain't did this and why nigga, you see it. That's what my mama used to tell her when we were little. When me, especially when Muffin was tall enough to reach the sink. Why y'all ain't washed the dishes? I ain't put them in there, but nigga, you saw them. But I didn't put them in there, but you saw them though. So why you just didn't wash them? And see, we ain't talking about when niggas is 15, 16, 17 years old. We talking about 7 and 8. One of the biggest things, man, especially when you dealing with something, especially I say in a regular natural organization. You know, most people, I say in a good organization, because some people be in companies and that don't happen. In a good organization, the people who see a need and feel it are usually the people who get elevated within that company. You know what I'm talking about? Because they're going to be like, hey, that's the same thing when you do in business. Most people who make the most money in business is people who see a problem and can solve it. You know what I'm talking about? Not somebody who looking for somebody to tell them how to solve it. You ain't going to make no money. You know what I'm talking about? Now, when you're in a bad organization, they're going to overwork you. You know what I'm talking about? When you see a problem and you solve it, they're going to give you more problems to solve. See, that's not a good organization. Good organizations don't do that. They're going to take you and say, this person has a particular skill set. We're going to put him here. And then you can put together how to solve these problems, and we'll give you whatever resources you need to do that. Not, here's 3 times more work. You know what I'm talking about? You work at UPS. You know that's what they do. They ain't gonna say, damn, boy, you a wise man. Let me give you a band of 10 men. You know what I'm talking about? They're going to be like, I'm going to give you the work of 10 men. See, that's a bad organization. See, a good organization, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? That's a bad organization. I ain't going to lie to you. Because that's how people end up quitting. Because you, in your mind, you saw this is a problem, I'm going to solve it. And they say, oh, we got a duck, let's give him more work. You know what I'm saying? A good organization going to look at you and say, that's a wise person who has a skill set that we can utilize. Let's give him this and give him the tools he needs to facilitate that. And then he ain't got to do the work of 10 men. We'll give him 10 men to facilitate that work. You know what I'm saying? This ain't entertain card time. Come on with it, bro.
I say meekness, temperance, against such there is no law.
Now, of course, you know meekness is humility. You know what I'm talking about? And I knew that was gonna happen. And temperance and self-control. Go ahead. Against such
there is no law. And they that are Mashiachs have crucified the flesh with the affections and lust.
You got to put that flesh to death because it's going to kill you. But you'll be able to see this by the pattern, by the ruach, by the figure, by the form and the construction. John 7:37. I'm going to get y'all off of here. It's 9 o'clock. I ain't going to hold you much longer.
In the last day, that great of the feast, Yahushua stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. He that believe on me, as the scriptures have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. But this spake he of the Ruach, which they that believe on him should receive. The Ruach HaKadosh was not yet, because that Yahushua was not yet esteemed. Many of the people, therefore, when they heard this saying, said, of a truth, this is the prophet. Others said, this
That's good. It was 1 Chronicles 22 that I wanted. I want y'all to look at verse 1, man. I just want you to see the things that he brought in, because I want to focus on, we're talking about wisdom, the house building. And of course, you know, the pattern is the blueprint. But one of the wisest decisions that you can make is you got to prepare first. Didn't he say prepare your house? Prepare your work without. Make it fit for the field and then build your house. If we do that, read me Luke 14:26. Man. Say being meek doesn't mean you timid and soft, correct? No, it just means you humble. See, timid is given the world definition of timid. See, being soft is a coward. Now, what is a coward? I'm not talking about the coward how most people think about it. I'm talking about the strict definition. That's scared of confrontation. Yeah, he was asking, does being meek doesn't mean being timid or soft? Is what
timid is showing.
Yeah, just humble. You know what I'm saying?
Timid is showing a lack of courage or confidence.
You see that?
Frightened.
Somebody being timid, he said that's showing a lack of courage or confidence. Now we know full well, if you meek, that don't mean you lack courage or confidence because you got the word of Yahuwah. You know what I'm talking about? Which goes back to basically that's being a coward. You don't want to confront. See, when I'm talking about coward, I ain't talking about, I'm scared to fight. Because some people are willing to fight people, but scared to confront a multitude of issues within. So they still a coward. Yeah. I mean, shoot, he had a nigga trying to kill him. Several. You know what I'm talking about? And we know full well, it's a lot of things he lacked. If you would say such a thing, but we know courage and confidence wasn't one of them. Neither one of them. You know what I'm talking about? But he had a mind that was after the mind of Yahuwah. So he knew how to comport himself. Remember, it said that David behaved himself wisely all his days among Saul. No one Saul wanted to kill him. You know what I'm talking about? Give him the definition of meekness in that group. Dookie J. What's that definition for meekness?
Real taste as gentleness, mildness, meekness, humility.
Humility. Because remember, he exalts the humble and resists the proud.
In the English definition, this is quiet, gentle, easily imposed on. It could mean submissive. And then it said it's also the Greek word for prize, which is dealing with people in a kind manner with humility and consideration.
So also being meek is dealing with people in a kind manner with humility and consideration. See, that's one of the, now that last part is one of the strongest parts about being meek, and that's dealing with people with consideration. And when you're dealing with people with consideration, that means you're not thinking just about yourself.
And then it says the ways of being meek are looked at as indicating weakness, but in essence, it's the opposite.
You know why meekness is looked at as being weak? Because most people are exploitative. Most people are looking to take kind and courteous and conscientious people and take advantage of them. But remember what I always told you. It ain't nothing wrong with being used. The problem is if you're getting misused. Once you recognize you're being misused, you need to remove yourself from that situation because they don't deserve to benefit from you. But if a person is trying to use you, then guess what? If their intentions are foul, Yahuwah are going to destroy them, not you. He's going to take that out on them. Because remember this here, and on top of that, even if a person you believe somebody used, that's indicative of them. That ain't got nothing to do with you. That's a reflection of their character. And that's also going back to the point of showing that you don't appreciate people who actually care and love you. That's all. You don't appreciate people. And you know why more people don't appreciate people who love and care about them? Because they don't love and care about themselves, and they probably never had nobody who loved and cared about them, so they don't know how to send that back to other people. And most people don't know how to be considerate and kind to people, again, who they can't get no benefit from. Listen what that man told you. He told you, and Luke, come over here. Let me find it for you. But we got to get off here. It's 9 o'clock already. Let me make sure I find the right spot. Right now. I ain't no yeah. I'm not trying to hear all that. Come over here to Luke 14 and 12. Luke 14 and 12.
Then said he also to them that bade him, when you make a dinner or a supper, call not your friends.
He said when you make a what?
A dinner or a supper.
He said don't call your friends. And who else?
Nor your brethren.
Don't call your brother.
Neither your kinsmen.
Don't call your relatives.
Nor rich neighbors.
Don't call nobody who got some money.
Lest they also bid you again, and a recompense be made you.
Lest they tell you come to their house and they pay you back.
But when you make a feast, call the poor.
Call the who?
Call the poor.
Call the who?
The poor.
And who else?
The maimed.
And who else?
The lame, the blind. You shall be baruch.
You say you'll be blessed.
They cannot recompense.
They can't pay you back.
For you shall be recompensed at the resurrection of the just.
They can't pay you back. You know what he sounds like he's telling you to do? What he did for you? Because you can't pay him back. You know what I'm talking about? You can't pay him back. He telling you to do what he did for you. What truth be told, it wasn't nothing wrong with exchanging gifts on Purim, but Purim was really about giving gifts to the Pope. That's what they really did. They really sent out things to those who ain't have nothing. You know what I'm talking about? It's easy to do something for somebody who can pay you back. But are you the type of person that'll go do something for somebody and you don't get nothing in return? And that you did it not to be seen, not to have this great feeling on the inside, but to be the literal manifestation of the grace, mercy, and goodness that you claim that is your God who dwell in you. Do that. You know what I'm talking about? Can you make a decision at where you don't profit? If you go into every situation where you look at how you can profit from it, or how you can come out on top, how you can get what you want, you ain't thinking like no godly man. I can tell you that right now. You're carnal is what you is. Because guess what he say love don't seek? Her own. And you know how you know this? Because Yahushua didn't seek his own. When he manifested love unto all, what did he gain from that? He wasn't seeking his own will. He wasn't seeking his own pleasure. He wasn't seeking his own nothing. What was he gaining from that situation? Absolutely nothing. So he's a literal manifestation of love seek not our own. Where you was at before?
I know you called for 14 and 26.
Yeah, because run that 14:26.
Say, if any come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, in his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
He cannot be my what?
My disciple.
Listen what he say.
Whosoever do not bear his stake and come after me cannot be my disciple. But which of you intending to build a tower, sit not down first and count the cost.
Whether you got what?
Sufficient to finish.
Listen.
Let's
he say, which one of you ain't sat down and count the cost? See, when you look at what David wanted to do and then passed it down to Solomon with that preparation, they sat down and counted the cost. Did they have sufficient to build this house? Listen what he led with, right? He said, lest after he laid the foundation, it is not able to finish, and others begin to mock him. What is laying the foundation? Mashiach is the foundation. So now you say you done laid down the faith, but you didn't do what's in 2 Peter 1 like we talked about a couple weeks ago. Added, go and get it for him, man. 2 Peter 1 and 4. Because once you say, oh, I believe in Mashiach, that's the foundation. But remember, through wisdom is a what? House built. And through understanding is established. So if you say you understand, that means you heard the gospel and believed it. That set the foundation. Because remember, we just read it. He said he gave them understanding that they might understand the scriptures. But wisdom is skill, and that skill is how you build the house. And 2 Peter 1 and 4 give insight into what some of those things, the skill you need to build that house. And let's go ahead and read it for him. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 4. Make it verse 3. Yo, what? Oh, those two parables are a little different. But go ahead.
Yeah, a different parable, but as far as like.
Well, see, Luke 14 ain't a parable. He's just straight to the point. He's just straight to the point. He's just telling them point blank period. If you ain't willing to forsake everything that you got, if you're not willing to deny yourself, I can't instruct you. And then he's telling them which one of you have decided to do A, B, C, but you didn't count if you were actually able to do it. See, in this particular society that we live in, especially with the proliferation of the internet and brews and all level of information that gets spread, most people are more excited about learning something new than actually counting the cost. Am I ready, willing, and able to do this job? So like when you read in Matthew 20, remember when they said, hey, man, we want to sit on your right hand and your left hand. Remember what he asked? You able to be baptized with the baptism I'm baptized with? And are you able to drink from the cup that I drink from? And what did they say? They were able. They counted the cost. You know what I'm saying? See, sometimes this is what you see when people walk away. They happy with the information in the beginning, but they didn't count the cost. And when they realized what they had to pay, which is the sacrifice of desire, which is the sacrifice of carnality, which is the sacrifice of the pleasures of the world, they seen that I'm not willing to pay that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why he's saying then they go back mocking you. You know what I'm saying? That's why when most people be leaving, they be like, see, they be want to talk about you when you leave. Because see, what a lot of people do, of course, I ain't never did it because I don't see the point. I don't look at it as if somebody say, I don't want a fellowship over here, that they walked away from the word. I don't have that type of mindset. People can fellowship wherever they want to fellowship with because no one man has a monopoly on the word. Now, of course, y'all know whether Christian or Hebrew, that's how most people view people when they leave a congregation, that they leave in the word. They didn't leave the word. They just stopped fellowshipping somewhere for whatever reason. But in reality, usually about 90 to 95% of the time, when people leave an assembly, they leave to leave the word because they don't want to do it. And you know how we know that? Because over time, you don't see them dealing with the word anymore. But see, this is what you don't do. You don't rush to say that. You just let time tell all. You know what I'm talking about? You don't be like, oh, that nigga, unless it's, I mean, obviously very apparent. You know what I'm talking about? But like I say, man, more people like Saul, man. They think because they still dealing with the word, they were in it. But nigga, you was never in it. Just because you talk it don't mean that you in it. Just because you show up on days don't mean that you in it. Being in it is literally being in it, and it being in you. Not the reciting of precepts, but actually it abiding in you, and it actually being an outward manifestation of that which is in you. Now, when you look at the parable of the sower, that's more so, he said, you know, the sower, the good seed is the son of Adam. So that's more so when that word gets preached, it's just like if you scattering seed in your field, and then it's 4 different types of field. Which is
at least 2 of them. Now they ain't count the cost.
Because the first one, the other 2 didn't count the cost. They didn't realize I don't want to give up the cares and affairs of this life and the deceitfulness of riches. Yeah, that's it. That first one, yeah, that one in him, he said, I received it with joy. When he seen what he had to go through to produce that fruit, he said, oh no, I can't do that. Because it didn't take no root. But see, that third one, it took root. But you let the vines and the weeds and the thorns come up and choke off that seed. So now that vine can't produce no fruit. And we already know what he gonna do if he walk up on that fig tree and ain't no fruit on it. He gonna say, "Dung it." Hold on. He said, "What happens when a person enters the faith, didn't consider the cost, and then they realize at the time they aren't ready? Can they once walk again if they underestimate themselves on what is required?" See, that one there is a hard saying. Ain't that what it said? But this is what it is, right? Most people, when they enter the word, don't count the cost. To be 100% honest with you, most people don't count the cost. It's not told to you. Yeah, it's not presented to you to count the cost. You know what I'm saying? It's really not presented to you to count the cost. And I can't even say that you realize you ain't ready because you ain't know you was ready. You knew you weren't doing nothing in the first place. You were just going through the motion. See, what that come down to is if Yahuwah give you a mind to, hey, I got sufficient to pay. It's gonna cost me something. But you know what the sad part is? Indeed, Tabby. You know what the sad part is when you look at the word? Everything in life got a cost. If you want to start a business, you count the cost of what it is to do it, what you could lose and all. But don't nobody do that with their soul, though. See, everybody think when you come in the word of Yahuwah, you gain and you ain't got to give up nothing. Ain't that what they tell you? You go to church, that's what they tell you then. Most of the Hebrews, that's what they telling you too. The only thing they're telling you got to give up is pagan holidays and pork. You know what I'm talking about? But they're not telling you you're going to have to give up everything in you that's contrary to the Ruach of God. They're not telling you that. You know what I'm saying? They ain't telling us that. And that's why niggas get in it, and then they realize the straightness thereof of that straight gate. You know what I'm talking about? And them sacrifices that have to be made, that's why they walk away.
Even on a natural level, that's not really being...
It's being immature.
Talk like that. Like people not really willing like to start a business. People ain't successful.
I mean, most people are not successful because most just don't know what they're doing. And then you got sometimes, see, let me tell you something, right? Sometimes you could do something and you could fail, and it may because you didn't do it right. See, you have to know the difference of knowing when to pivot off something and knowing when to keep doing it. Most people keep doing something when you should have pivoted off of that. You know what I'm talking about? And the reason why most people don't realize they need to pivot off something is because you're not proficient as you believe you are. See, that's one of the big. I can't really tell a person how much to believe in themselves, but you also have to be realistic to know this might not be for you. You might need to pivot off of that before you dig yourself in a hole too deep that you'll never be able to come out of. You know what I'm talking about? That takes wisdom and skill to do that. That ain't something you can just tell somebody. That perfectly, you just got a wise mind. You know what I'm talking about? Because you don't really want to shake nobody off something, and they determined to be successful at it. You know what I'm saying? But you done seen it because I done seen people who were flipping houses, bro. They said, "Nah, this ain't for me," and they pivoted off of that and went and did something else. It might have been in the same field, but they went and pivoted and did something else. I know a man who made multi-millions wholesaling and pivoted off of that and went and did something else. He seen the market doing X, Y, Z, and he pivoted right off of that. This is not a nigga who failed. This is a nigga having success. And he said, "I see something coming. I'm gonna pivot." Before that get there, I'm gonna do something else. Everybody can't do that. You know what I'm talking about? Also, some people don't have the wisdom to be able to determine that you just need to work a little harder, or be a little wiser, or come up with a better plan or better execution. And what it's so much nuance to it. You know what I'm saying? That we just don't really want to take people and just pigeonhole them like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this nigga stupid because he failed. No, it could have been this one decision and it sunk it. Don't mean you know what I'm saying, you didn't know what you were doing. It just means stop. It just means, hey, that wasn't the right move at that time. Learn from it and grow from it. You know what I mean? Hey, man, nobody care about all that, bro. And I'm tired of you doing that. Nobody don't care nothing because you don't get to do what you want to do, and then you start throwing a tantrum, balling your face up like somebody's scared of you. Nobody cares. Good grief. He said, "How do you know when to follow through and when to pivot?" I say, man, bro, that John just really come down to, you got to listen to that voice in your brain. But most importantly, you have to look at the information in front of you. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say that's not something it's not a one-size-fit-all type of deal. Because you might look at a situation for you and say, you know what? I need to pivot off of that. You know what I'm saying? Then you can look at it be in that same situation and say, you know what? If I just make this adjustment right here and keep on pushing, I'll get to where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? So it's really looking at the information in front of you and just pray that you got the discernment and the skill to be able to know which one to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, when it comes with the word, ain't no pivot unless you own some old stupidity. You know what I'm saying? But what we mentioning right there is counting the cost. Because most people just, especially in this generation, you just get told, start a business. But nobody's telling you the cost that you're going to have to pay. Nobody's telling you the money that you're going to have to put up. Nobody's telling you the length of time you might not make no money. Nobody's telling you the sacrifices of the long hours of all the work that you might have to do. Ain't nobody going to tell you that some people not going to pay you. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody telling you that. They just telling you, get you an LLC. And once you get the LLC, then you get your business credit. And all they got you thinking about is how much money you going to make. And you know why they do that? Because they playing on your emotion of greed. Or they're playing on your delusions of grandeur. They're playing on whatever they can play on to be able to influence you to buy their product. Remember I said all them niggas came with them NFTs, all them niggas came with them Bitcoins and all that there. I say, boy, I see how these niggas moving. Boy, that's a scam. And you see ain't none of them around here, and niggas lost millions of dollars to the point that Steph Curry, Floyd Mayweather, Tom Brady, they all got sued for fooling with that dude with his coins. And you know how I knew that stuff was a scam? Because it was too many niggas selling courses. And when I see a whole bunch of niggas selling courses, I know they're not actually doing it. Because the people that I know who actually do stuff, they don't really have the time to sell you no courses. You know what I'm talking about? I knew that on the real estate side of things, man. Everybody got a wholesaling course they want to sell somebody. But the people who I know who was actually getting money, boy, Gonzo didn't try to do it. You know how long that done last? About 6 months. Them boys said, man, we got enough time to do this here. Because they were hands-on with it. It just wasn't no, we selling you a course. They like, hey, man, we doing Zooms. You come into the office. You could do this. You could do that. And them boys like, no, we can't do it. We got so much stuff to do over here. There's no way that I can do this. A nigga get on the internet and say, for slashing deals, $300. They get got. That's how they say Janae White was getting niggas in. I don't know if she was or she wasn't, but that's what they were saying. Was they say all the credit fixing people are scammers. I don't know if they are or they aren't. But when niggas go to selling courses on some junk a lot, man, them people ain't doing that stuff for real. He said, if you want to, yeah, you do. You got to be willing to sacrifice. Hey, man, you own my cord for one. I say you just got to have wisdom. But when it comes to this word, though, well, you got to ask yourself, are you willing to make the requisite sacrifices in order to be saved? And most people don't really come to you and tell you, like you done heard me say that before plenty of times. Since everybody in here, since you walk through the door, hey, man, you might have to sacrifice your family. Are you willing to do that? I'm not telling you not to deal with your family. I'm telling you in your situation, you might have to do that if that's detrimental to your soul. You might have to sacrifice your job. You might have to. I can't tell you what it is that you're going to have to sacrifice, and I can't tell you to do it. All I can tell you is if this is a detriment to your soul, are you ready, willing, and able to let it go if it meant saving your soul? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to hell for nobody or nothing. If you got to go for me to live forever, I'm going to walk away from you. It's not a problem. I don't care who you are. I don't love nobody enough to go to hell for them. I don't. Absolutely not. I will not do it. There's nothing outside of this door. There's nothing that I could achieve. There's no accomplishment that I want to make that I'll sacrifice my soul for. It's not enough money that a nigga could pay me to do it. There's no dream I could come up with in my mind worth going to hell for. Because that man said it's better to have a little with righteousness than to have a lot with strife. You know what I'm saying? People don't consider that. You know why? Because they don't value the wages of righteousness, for one. But come on, where we at, Sid?
2 Peter 1.
2 Peter 1 and 4.
Whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious
I've heard that
promises,
before, Meek. I heard people say
that by these you might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust.
Yes, sir, Yedadiah.
Besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue.
He said with all diligence, add what?
To your faith, virtue.
And what else you need to add?
To virtue, knowledge.
And what else?
To knowledge, temperance.
And what else?
To temperance, patience.
And what else?
And to patience, godliness.
And what else?
To godliness, brotherly kindness.
And what else?
To brotherly kindness, charity.
What else?
For if these things be in you and abound, they make neither barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Master, Yahushua HaMashiach.
Well, that's the skill you need to build your house right there. That's the skill you need to build your house right there. And y'all willing, we'll come back to that more on tomorrow. So hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. I appreciate y'all time this evening. And I bless y'all the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Just wait and consider. You know what I'm saying? That's all you can do. But the choice and the decision rests with you. Yahuwah willing, man, we'll be back at it tomorrow for the conclusion. Huh? Y'all willing, we'll be back tomorrow to conclude the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Beginning that last Shabbat, we'll be starting at 8:30. Amen, Sister Jadina. Amen, Yedadiah, man. Amen. You know what I'm saying? And we'll try to take some more of this stuff that we've been looking at and mash it all together to prayerfully that we could get a good and proper understanding of all things pertaining to our Elohim. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir, Zoe, man. Hold it down, my G. Don't just wait and consider, man, because Yahuwah been good. He been faithful. He done kept your mind long enough to seek his face this long. Don't, what's the word I'm looking for? Don't mismanage. I don't want to say fumble, but it's another word I'm looking for, but it ain't coming to mind. Don't take for granted. That's what I'm looking for. Don't take for granted the opportunity that's been set before you because you just focused on you. Let Elohim reign in your hearts and your minds, and let his righteousness lift you up. Again, I bless y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Yahuwah willing, man, we're going to be back at it on tomorrow. Of course, I went with Tuesday. No daytime service. Don't ask me. I'm not preaching Tuesday night. That means that's the conclusion. So don't ask me. I'll be back on Wednesday. Now, because people be asking, you going to preach Tuesday night? No. No. You know what I'm saying? This is the feast 8 days, right? That means I would have preached Shalom table. That means I would have preached 9 times in 8 days. You know what I'm talking about? Which really means I'm gonna preach 10 times in 10 days. Because I'm coming back Wednesday. So yeah, nigga, I'm taking a day off. Nigga, leave me alone. You know what I'm talking about? Thank you, Yahuwah, brother Ernan, man. Amen, bro. Shalom, my G. But Yahuwah willing, man. We'll be back at it on tomorrow, man, and we'll finish this feed out. Peace out. Shalom, brother Eric, man. Nisha, which direction you going?